There are moments in the royal world when a simple public appearance can carry much more meaning than people realize, and this may be one of those moments. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have once again stepped out together, this time in Canada, looking united, relaxed, and very much like a couple who are comfortable standing beside each other as they continue building their life outside the traditional royal system. But while the cameras were focused on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, something much bigger was happening in the background. Questions about Harry's relationship with his family are once again dominating royal conversations. Could the door to reconciliation be opening? Could Harry's recent contact with his father, King Charles, eventually lead to something bigger? Could we one day see Harry, Meghan, and their children spending meaningful time with members of the royal family again? And perhaps the biggest question of all is this: could Prince Harry and Meghan Markle be moving toward a new chapter in their relationship with the royal family, one based not on old expectations, public pressure, or palace politics, but on family, respect, and peace? Welcome back to Sussex Square, where we continue following the latest developments surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And if you believe Harry and Meghan deserve the freedom to build their lives on their own terms while still maintaining the right to love and connect with family, make sure you stay with me until the end, because there is a lot to unpack. Let us begin with Canada. On August 7th, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made a rare red carpet appearance together at the David Foster Foundation's 40th anniversary celebration in British Columbia. The couple attended the event in support of their longtime friend David Foster and his foundation, which supports Canadian families whose children require life-saving organ transplants. And once again, Harry and Meghan appeared as a team. Meghan looked elegant in a black one-shoulder gown by Canadian designer Greta Constantine, while Harry wore a classic black tuxedo. But it was Meghan's jewelry that caught particular attention. She wore diamond and sapphire earrings that once belonged to Princess Diana. For many Sussex supporters, that detail carried emotional significance. Princess Diana remains one of the most important figures in Harry's life, and Meghan wearing jewelry associated with his late mother can be seen as another quiet connection between the family Harry came from and the family he has created with Meghan. There was no dramatic statement, there was no attempt to make the evening about royal controversy, there was no public confrontation. Instead, there was Harry beside Meghan, Meghan beside Harry, and the two of them supporting a charitable cause. And sometimes that quietness says more than 1,000 headlines. Canada is also particularly meaningful for the Sussexes. It was a country that played an important role in their relationship. Meghan had lived in Toronto while filming Suits, and Harry and Meghan's relationship became increasingly public during that period. Canada also became part of their story during the period when they were deciding what their future would look like. So seeing them return to Canada together carries a certain sense of coming full circle. But while Harry and Meghan were enjoying their Canadian evening, another story was gathering momentum: the royal family. Over recent weeks, attention has increasingly turned toward Harry's relationship with his father, King Charles. There has been renewed reporting and speculation about meetings between Harry and his father, and about whether those conversations could eventually develop into a more meaningful reconciliation. It is important to say that not every claim circulating online should be treated as fact. Royal stories often move faster than the evidence. Some reports are based on unnamed sources, some are based on commentary from royal experts, others are simply online speculation. But what cannot be ignored is that the conversation about reconciliation has returned with considerable force, and that tells us something. People are still interested in Harry's relationship with his family, because underneath all the royal titles and headlines, this is ultimately a family story. Harry is a son, Charles is his father, William is his brother, and Meghan is Harry's wife and the mother of his children. Whatever has happened in the past, family relationships can be complicated. They can become strained. People can disagree. People can say things they later regret.
and sometimes distance becomes part of the healing process. That is why I believe it is important not to rush Harry into a reunion simply because the public wants one. If reconciliation happens, it should happen because the people involved genuinely want it. It should happen because there is trust. It should happen because there is respect. And most importantly, it should happen in a way that protects Harry, Meghan, and their children. Harry has been very clear over the years that the safety of his family matters enormously to him. So if there's going to be a bigger family reunion in the future, it needs to be about more than photographs. It needs to be about genuine family connection. And this is where Meghan's role becomes particularly interesting. For years, Meghan has often been placed at the center of the royal family debate. Critics have blamed her for decisions that were ultimately made jointly by Harry and Meghan. Others have treated her as though she somehow controls Harry. But Harry is an adult man. He has his own experiences. He has his own convictions. He has lived through his own relationship with the institution, and he has repeatedly demonstrated that he is capable of making decisions for himself. Meghan did not create Harry's childhood. She did not create the complicated relationship between Harry and the institution. She did not create the pressures that existed long before their marriage. What Meghan did was become Harry's partner, and together they made decisions about the life they wanted for themselves and their children. That distinction matters, because if reconciliation is going to happen, it should not be built around blaming Meghan. It should be built around understanding Harry and Meghan as a family. And perhaps that is one of the most encouraging aspects of the latest developments. Harry and Meghan continue moving forward together. They continue to appear at events together. They continue to work on projects together. They continue to support causes that matter to them. And they continue to demonstrate that whatever criticism comes their way, they have not allowed it to destroy their partnership. Look at the Canada appearance. Harry could have attended alone, Meghan could have attended alone, but they chose to appear together. They stood beside their friends, they supported a charitable organization, they shared the evening, and they looked like a couple who were comfortable in their own world. That is important because there has been endless speculation about the Sussexes. Every appearance gets analyzed, every photograph gets examined, every facial expression becomes a headline, every piece of jewelry becomes a theory. Yet sometimes the simplest explanation is the most powerful one. Harry and Meghan are together. They are continuing their lives. They are continuing their work, and they are supporting each other. That should not be underestimated. Now, let's talk about the possibility of a bigger royal reunion. Could it happen? Yes, it is possible. Is it confirmed? No. At this stage, claims about a major reunion involving the entire family should be treated as speculation unless Harry, Meghan, or the royal household officially confirms it. But the possibility is fascinating. Imagine a future in which Harry can return to Britain without every visit becoming a battlefield. Imagine a future where his children can know their royal relatives without being caught in the middle of adult disagreements. And imagine a future where Harry can speak to his father privately without every conversation becoming a global media event. And imagine a future where Meghan can be treated not as the villain in somebody else's story, but simply as Harry's wife and the mother of his children. That kind of reconciliation would be far more meaningful than any staged photograph. It would represent something deeper. It would represent maturity. It would represent forgiveness. And it would show that families can sometimes find their way back to one another even after years of difficulty. But there is another side to this. Harry should not be expected to abandon the principles that he has established for his family simply because people want a royal reunion. He should not have to choose between being a loving son and being a protective father. Those two things can exist together. He can love his father while protecting his children. He can care about his brother while maintaining boundaries. He can respect his family history while creating a different future. And Meghan can support him through that process. That is what partnership looks like. There is also something refreshing about the way Harry and Meghan have increasingly focused their public appearances on causes and personal relationships, rather than constantly responding to royal drama. The David Foster Foundation event is a perfect example. The evening was not about palace disputes. It was about families. It was about children. It was about people facing incredibly difficult medical circumstances. And Harry and Meghan were there to support that work. That is the kind of story that deserves attention. Because beyond the headlines, these are two people trying to use their platform in ways that matter to them. Harry has spent years supporting veterans and wounded service members through the Invictus Games. Meghan has continued focusing on causes connected to women, children, families, and community. Together, they have created a public identity that is different from traditional